PSVR2 is the latest virtual reality headset from Sony, and it comes with some amazing features such as eye tracking, 4K resolution, and 3D audio. Eye tracking is a technology that allows the headset to track where the user is looking and adjust the graphics accordingly. This can enhance the immersion, realism, and interactivity of the VR games. However, not all PSVR2 games support eye tracking, and some of them use it better than others. In this report, I will review the list of PSVR2 games that support eye tracking and give some details about each game. This is part 2 of all the games that support this feature. 7 Guests VR is a remake of the classic horror game The Seventh Guest, which was released in 1993. It is a puzzle adventure game that takes place in a haunted mansion where you have to uncover the secrets of the 6 guests and the mysterious 7th guest. One of the features of the PSVR2 that enhances the game experience is eye tracking. This technology allows the game to track where you are looking and adjust the graphics and interactions accordingly. For example, the game uses foveated rendering, which means that the area you are focusing on is rendered in high resolution, while the rest of the screen is blurred to save processing power. This creates a more realistic and immersive visual effect. Another use of eye tracking is to make the characters in the game more responsive and lifelike. The game has full-motion video actors that appear over the environment, and they can make eye contact with you, look at your hands, or glance away if you stare too long. This adds a layer of emotion and psychology to the game, as well as some creepiness. Eye tracking also enables some gameplay features, such as using your gaze to interact with objects, select options, or solve puzzles. For example, you can use your eyes to light up candles, open doors, or play chess. This makes the game more intuitive and accessible, as well as more engaging. Firewall Ultra is a PSVR2 game that is a sequel to Firewall 0 Hour, a tactical shooter that was released in 2018. Firewall Ultra is an online multiplayer game that lets you join a squad of 4 contractors and complete classified objectives across the globe, in both cooperative and competitive modes. You can customize your weapons, loadouts, and skills to suit your playstyle and strategy. One of the features of Firewall Ultra that makes it stand out from other VR shooters is eye tracking. Eye tracking is a technology that allows the game to track where you are looking and adjust the graphics and interactions accordingly. For example, the game uses foveated rendering, which means that the area you're focusing on is rendered in high resolution, while the rest of the screen is blurred to save processing power. This creates a more realistic and immersive visual effect. Another use of eye tracking is to make the gameplay more responsive and intuitive. You can use your eyes to cycle through weapons, aim down sights, and interact with your surroundings through cameras built into the PSVR2 headset. You can also use your eyes to avoid the effects of a flashbang by closing them before it explodes. This adds a layer of strategy and realism to the game, as well as some challenge. Eye tracking also enables some social features, such as making eye contact with other players and characters in the game. This can create a sense of connection and emotion, as well as some tension and intimidation. You can also use your eyes to communicate with your teammates, such as nodding, winking, or rolling your eyes. Bulletstorm VR is a virtual reality game that is compatible with the PSVR2 headset. It is a first-person shooter that features over-the-top action, destructible environments, and a variety of weapons and enemies. The game is a remake of the original Bulletstorm, which was released in 2011 for the PS3, Xbox 360, and PC. One of the features that makes Bulletstorm VR stand out is its use of eye tracking, which is a technology that the PSVR2 headset supports. Eye tracking allows the headset to detect where you are looking and use this information for various purposes. For example, eye tracking can enable foveated rendering, which is a technique that improves the performance and quality of the graphics by rendering the area that you are focusing on with more detail, and blurring the rest of the scene. This can make the game look more realistic and immersive, while also reducing the strain on the PS5 console. Bulletstorm VR is one of the games that showcases the potential of eye tracking on the PSVR2 headset. It is a game that offers a thrilling and immersive experience with a lot of action, humor, and creativity. Tennis on Court is a tennis game for PSVR2 that was released on October 20th, 2023. It is the first tennis game for PSVR2, and it features realistic physics, dynamic assists, 2v2 multiplayer mode, and spectator mode. It also supports eye tracking, which is a new feature of the PSVR2 headset that allows for foveated rendering, improved immersion, and gameplay mechanics. Your VR game reflects your line of sight when you blink and more. Eye tracking can enhance your experience of playing tennis on court by allowing you to aim your shots with your eyes, interact with other players and spectators with eye contact, and adjust the difficulty level based on your gaze. Eye tracking can also improve the performance of the game by reducing the rendering load on the areas that you are not looking at. Kill it with fire. VR is a game that lets you hunt and destroy spiders in various environments using a variety of weapons and tools. Kill It With Fire VR is a game that uses the eye tracking feature of the PSVR2 to enhance the gameplay and immersion. According to the developers, eye tracking allows you to aim your weapons and tools with your eyes, making it easier and more intuitive to hit the spiders and interact with the environment. Scan the rooms and objects with your eyes, revealing hidden spiders and clues that will help you complete your objectives and unlock new items. React to the spiders and other characters with your eyes, creating dynamic and expressive interactions that will change the outcome of the game. Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord is a cooperative multiplayer VR game that lets you team up with your friends and become a Ghostbuster in a new adventure. You will use the iconic ghostbusting equipment to hunt and capture various ghosts in different locations across San Francisco. The game is available for the PSVR2, which is a virtual reality headset that features eye tracking technology. Here are some of the benefits of eye tracking in the game. You can aim your weapons and tools with your eyes, making it easier and more intuitive to hit the ghosts and interact with the environment. You can scan the rooms and objects with your eyes, revealing hidden ghosts and clues that will help you complete your objectives and unlock new items. You can react to the ghosts and other characters with your eyes, creating dynamic and expressive interactions that will change the outcome of the game. And it is also used for menu navigation in the game. The Foglands is a PSVR2 game that is set in a post-apocalyptic world where a mysterious fog has covered the earth and mutated the wildlife. You play as a survivor who has to explore the foggy lands, scavenge for resources, fight off enemies, and uncover the secrets of the fog. The game uses the eye tracking feature of the PSVR2 to enhance the gameplay and immersion. Here are some of the benefits of eye tracking in the game. You can aim your weapons and tools with your eyes, making it easier and more intuitive to hit the enemies and interact with the environment. You can scan the rooms and objects with your eyes, revealing hidden items and clues that will help you complete your objectives and unlock new areas. You can react to the enemies and other characters with your eyes, creating dynamic and expressive interactions that will change the outcome of the game. The Room VR. A Dark Matter is a puzzle adventure game that immerses you in a mysterious world of ancient artifacts and occult secrets. You play as a detective who investigates the disappearance of an Egyptologist at the British Institute of Archaeology. You will explore various locations, such as a museum, a church, and a tomb, and interact with strange devices and mechanisms that will challenge your logic and intuition. The game is designed for the unique capabilities of virtual reality, and you can use your hands and eyes to manipulate objects and solve puzzles. The game also supports the eye tracking feature of the PlayStation VR2, which allows the game to detect the motion of your eyes and adjust the graphics and gameplay accordingly. For example, the game uses foveated rendering, which improves the visual quality and performance by rendering the area that you are looking at in high resolution, while blurring the peripheral areas. The game also uses eye tracking for some gameplay elements, such as aiming or looking around, and for creating a more realistic and lifelike experience. Journey to Foundation is a VR game based on the classic sci-fi series by Isaac Asimov, which explores the fate of the Galactic Empire and the Foundation, a group of scientists and engineers who seek to preserve the knowledge and culture of humanity. You play as Agent Ward, a spy sent to the edge of the galaxy to investigate a mysterious disappearance, and you will have to make choices that will affect the outcome of the story. The game is coming to PSVR2 on October 26, 2023. The game supports the eye tracking feature of the PSVR2, which allows the game to detect the motion of your eyes and adjust the graphics and gameplay accordingly. For example, the game uses foveated rendering, which improves the visual quality and performance by rendering the area that you are looking at in high resolution while blurring the peripheral areas. The eye tracking in this game allows you to make your conversational selection by simply glancing at the option and pressing X. The game also uses eye tracking for some gameplay elements such as aiming or looking around and for creating a more realistic and lifelike experience. Project Wingman Frontline-59 is a PlayStation VR2 game that is inspired by Ace Combat, a popular series of arcade-style flight combat games. The game features 2 campaigns, one of which is exclusive to PSVR2, and a conquest mode, where players can customize their planes and engage in dynamic battles. The game is developed by Sector D2, an indie studio that was founded by former Ubisoft and EA developers. One of the most impressive features of the game is its use of the PSVR2's eye-tracking technology, which allows players to track and lock on to enemies with their eyes. This feature adds to the realism and immersion of the game, as players can switch targets quickly and easily, without having to use buttons or menus. The eye tracking feature also works with the foveated rendering of the PSVR2, which enhances the visual quality of the game by rendering the area where the player is looking at in high resolution, while reducing the resolution of the peripheral areas. On another note, only 6 out of 43 missions are VR on the PSVR2, the other 37 missions are experienced on a big 2D screen. So the game is not a full VR experience on the PlayStation console at this moment in time. The game also utilizes the haptic feedback of the PSVR2, which lets players feel the presence and movement of enemy planes as they fly by. The rumble feature of the headset creates a sensation of speed and power, as well as alerting players of incoming threats. The Light Brigade VR is a game that lets you experience the thrill of fighting in a futuristic war against an alien invasion. You can use various weapons, gadgets, and abilities to survive and win in a procedurally generated world. The game supports eye tracking on the PSVR2, which means that the game can detect where you are looking and adjust the graphics accordingly. This can improve the visual quality and performance of the game as well as make it more immersive and realistic. The game also features local dimming and dynamic foveated rendering, which are techniques that optimize the display and rendering of the game based on your eye movements. According to the developer Funktronic Labs, the game received a patch that added support for local dimming and dynamic foveated rendering with eye tracking on MetaQuest Pro. The same patch also improved the framerate resolution, text tracking, and aim locomotion on PSVR2. The game now runs at a native 90 Hz refresh rate on PSVR2, instead of using reprojection to achieve 128. Eye tracking can enhance the visual fidelity and performance of VR games by adjusting the resolution based on where the user is looking. The Light Brigade VR is a sci-fi roguelike shooter that challenges players to survive and win in a hostile alien world. Zombieland Headshot Fever Reloaded is a VR game based on the popular Zombieland movie franchise. It is a fast-paced arcade shooter that challenges you to kill zombies with headshots and double taps. The game features the original cast of characters, a humorous story, and a variety of weapons and perks. The game is available on PSVR2, and it supports some of the new features of the headset, such as adaptive triggers, controller haptics, headset rumble, and eye tracking. Eye tracking is a feature that allows the game to detect where you are looking and adjust the graphics accordingly. This can improve the visual quality and performance of the game, as well as make it more immersive and realistic. For example, eye tracking enables foveated rendering, which is a technique that optimizes the display and rendering of the game based on your eye movements. This means that the game can render the area where you are looking at in high resolution, while reducing the resolution of the peripheral areas. This can save processing power and increase the frame rate of the game. Another example of how eye tracking works in Zombieland, Headshot Fever Reloaded, is that it allows you to quickly move from one area to another by staring at a marker. This is a smart and snappy way of getting around, and it feels very intuitive to pull off. However, you have to be careful not to accidentally glance at the next marker before you collect any items or currency in the current area. Song in the Smoke Rekindled is a VR survival game that takes you to a mysterious and dangerous world where you have to craft, hunt, and fight to stay alive. The game is developed by 17-bit, and it is an enhanced version of the original Song in the Smoke that was released in 2021 for PSVR and Oculus Quest. The Rekindled edition takes advantage of the PSVR2's cutting-edge features, such as eye tracking, foveated rendering, adaptive triggers, controller haptics, headset, rumble, and improved graphics. Eye tracking is a feature that allows the game to detect where you're looking and adjust the graphics accordingly. This can improve the visual quality and performance of the game, as well as make it more immersive and realistic. For example, eye tracking enables foveated rendering, which is a technique that optimizes the display and rendering of the game based on your eye movements. This means that the game can render the area where you are looking at in high resolution, while reducing the resolution of the peripheral areas. This can save processing power and increase the frame rate of the game. Another example of how eye tracking works in Song in the Smoke Rekindled is that it allows you to quickly move from one area to another by staring at a marker. This is a smart and snappy way of getting around, and it feels very intuitive to pull off. However, you have to be careful not to accidentally glance at the next marker before you collect any items or currency in the current area. Ghost Signal. A Stellaris game is a VR game that is based on the popular sci-fi strategy game Stellaris. It is a roguelike game that challenges you to explore and survive in a procedurally generated galaxy full of dangers and mysteries. You can use various weapons, gadgets, and abilities to fight against hostile aliens, space pirates, and ancient threats. You can also make choices that affect the story and the outcome of your run. The game is developed by Fast Travel Games and Windswept Interactive, and it is available on PSVR2 and MetaQuest. The game supports eye tracking on the PSVR2, which is a feature that allows the game to detect where you are looking and adjust the graphics accordingly. This can improve the visual quality and performance of the game, as well as make it more immersive and realistic. For example, eye tracking enables foveated rendering, which is a technique that optimizes the display and rendering of the game based on your eye movements. Another example of how eye tracking works in Ghost Signal. A Stellaris game is that it allows you to quickly move from one area to another by staring at a marker. This is a smart and snappy way of getting around, and it feels very intuitive to pull off. However, you have to be careful not to accidentally glance at the next marker before you collect any items or currency in the current area. Propagation Paradise Hotel is a horror survival game that takes place in a post-apocalyptic world overrun by zombies and mutants. You are a survivor who has to explore the hotel and find a way out, while avoiding or fighting the enemies that lurk in the dark. The game is developed by Wanadev Studio and published by Vertigo Games for the PSVR2. The game uses eye tracking technology to enhance the gameplay and immersion. Eye tracking allows you to control some aspects of the game with your eyes, such as aiming, shooting, interacting, and selecting items. For example, you can look at a zombie and pull the trigger to shoot it, or you can look at a door and blink to open it. Eye tracking also enables foveated rendering, which improves the graphics and performance of the game by only rendering the area where you are looking at in high resolution. Eye tracking also makes the game more realistic and immersive, as the enemies can react to your eye contact and the environment can change according to your gaze. Eye tracking is a new and exciting feature that makes Propagation Paradise Hotel a unique and thrilling experience on the PSVR2. Thumper is a rhythm violence game that uses eye tracking to create a tense and immersive experience on the PSVR2. The game is developed by Drool and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment for the PSVR2. The game uses eye tracking technology to enhance the gameplay and immersion. Eye tracking allows the PSVR2 to track the movement of your eyes and use it for various purposes, such as foveated rendering, aiming, interacting, and more. Foveated rendering improves the graphics and performance of the game by only rendering the area where you are looking at in high resolution. Eye tracking also makes the game more immersive and flexible, as you can choose between different control options. For example, you can use the VR Sense controllers to steer the Beetle, or you can opt for eye or head tracking targeting, making it very flexible. This is also true of Thumper. The haptics, increased contrast, brighter image, and much higher resolution result in a far more intense experience. Eye tracking is a new and exciting technology that enhances the performance and immersion of VR games. And Thumper is one of those games that supports eye tracking on the PSVR2. Super Death Game Show VR is a virtual reality game that combines trivia, action, and horror. It is a game show where the contestants have to answer questions correctly or face deadly consequences. The game uses eye tracking to create realistic and immersive effects such as eye contact, blinking, and pupil dilation. According to the official website of the game, It does support eye tracking on the PSVR2. However, some users have reported issues with the eye tracking feature, such as drifting, lagging, and inaccurate calibration. The developers have stated that they are working on a patch to fix these issues and improve the game performance on the PSVR2. If you want to play Super Death Game Show VR with eye tracking on the PSVR2, you may have to wait for the update. Waltz of the Wizard is a virtual reality game that lets you explore a magical workshop and experiment with different spells and potions. It is inspired by Disney's Fantasia and the Harry Potter series. The game is available on the PSVR2, and it supports eye tracking features that enhance the immersion and realism of the game. Some of the eye tracking features are eye contact. You can make eye contact with the characters in the game, such as the talking skull and the fairy. They will react to your gaze and emotions, and you can even influence their behavior with your eyes. Blinking. You can blink your eyes to activate certain spells and effects, such as teleportation and invisibility. You can also use blinking to interact with some objects and puzzles in the game. Pupil dilation. Your pupils will dilate according to the light and darkness in the game, as well as your emotional state. This will affect how you see the world and how the world sees you. Puzzling Places is a virtual reality game that lets you assemble 3D puzzles of real-world locations. It is a relaxing and meditative game that lets you explore the beauty and diversity of our planet. The game is available on the PSVR2, and it supports eye tracking features that enhance the gameplay and immersion. Some of the eye tracking features are eye tracking for enhanced piece selection. You can use your eyes to select puzzle pieces more easily and accurately. When pointing in the general direction of pieces, you can select different ones by looking around that area. This makes the puzzle solving more intuitive and natural.